Hey guys, welcome back to the Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter card game review. Today's game on the tabletop is called Narco Empire. Narco Empire is for 2 to 4 players, takes about 30 to 45 minutes to play the game, ages 12 and up, and in the game you're going to be playing as a narcotics dealer and you're trying to sell drugs. And that is the idea of the game. You're going to be getting a certain tableau of 4 different cards, which you're going to be having your little area to make the stuff, transporting, a warehouse to store it, as well as the type of greenery you're going to be having as well. And in the game you're going to determine how far you want to go throughout each turn as to what you're trying to collect. Now, obviously, as you're flipping over these different cards, you're going to be getting either cops showing up, or you're going to get better transportation, better warehouses, and that kind of stuff. And if you get too many cops to show up, you're going to be in deep trouble. However, if you're getting a bunch of other good stuff like these gun cards or the upgraded cards, you're going to actually be able to draw specific cards from the action deck, and it'll progress your turn better. After you're done doing this little pressure luck phase, you're going to move on, and you're going to go ahead and collect all the different resources you get, selling all that stuff, the money, buying new upgrades and whatnot, and then you're past your turn and play will continue like that. That is the basic idea of the game. Let me go ahead and show you what it looks like. Okay, so here we have the components for Narco Empire. Now, first of all, you're going to notice there are 5 separate sets of cards, but once I go ahead and set it up, there's only going to be actually 2 decks. Here we have the different drug dealers you're going to be starting the game with. When you start the game off, there's going to be 4 of them set to the side, all 4 different colors, and the rest are going to go into the Narco deck, the Push Your Luck deck. This deck here is going to have all the different areas in which you're going to start your turn with. Is 4 for one player and 4 for another, and it plays up to 4 players. You got the garden area over here. This is like your lab area where you make it. This is the transportation you'll be using to ship it, and then you got your factory here, your storage unit, which you're going to hold it before you have to transfer it. This is the Narco deck, which is where you're going to be drawing cards off the top, hoping that you get these nice little gun cards as opposed to these nasty cop cards. If you get more than 1 cop card, after 2 bad things happen, and after 3 you stop and you can't go any farther. So you're going to have to determine out of 7 cards to push your luck and whether or not you should do so. These cards over here are the advanced deck, and you're going to add this after the original deck runs out, and these got nasty guys like the DEA agent, as well as a bunch of additional military forces, and even better upgrade cards like planes and a huge warehouse. Finally, you'll see over here in the deck area is we've got an action deck, which is going to be obtained whenever you get 4 different gun cards up on the field. And if you can't do that, you're not going to get any of these guys. But they range with a bunch of different things. You can gain hitmen, you can go ahead and steal stuff from your opponents and gain money from different things like that. You're also going to be getting hitmen. This is the currency, which is green cubes, and then silver. Green is 1,000,000 cubes, and these are 5,000,000 cubes. This is going to be your narcotics cubes, which you'll be collecting and then transporting to get money. And finally, over here is your greenery cubes, which you'll be getting each one of these, up to 3 of them, to put onto your little garden here, to where you're going to be getting more and more narcotics. These are the basic. This is the basic set, basic amount of stuff in the game. Okay, let me go ahead and talk about how it's going to be played. So as I was stating before, the game's fairly simple. You're going to get a tableau of 4 different cards. You're going to start off with 1 cube of sweet Colombian, as well as 1 cube for your growing, and finally 1 single $1 million cube. As all you're going to get to start the game with. Then, on your turn, whoever begins the turn is going to flip over cards from the deck, these cards here, and you're going to either get cop cards or you're going to get these bullet cards here. And you're trying to get as many bullet cards as you can. You're going to try and go up to 7 cards. Now, obviously, if you go past 3 cop, if you get to 3 cop car signals, that is it. It stops. You can only collect whatever you have on the board that's there. You're trying to get the dealers, you're trying to get upgrades, and you're trying to avoid getting any kind of cop signals. And there's some things that can help you, even though they have cop symbols like informants. But after you go all the way to 7, or if you decide to stop, or if you get caught by the cops, you're going to end, and you're going to collect anything you can, or give away anything you have to give away to the cops and whatnot. After that is over, you're going to get actions based on the number of cards that are represented on the field. If you have up to 7 cards in the field, you're going to get 7 actions. So 5, 5, 3, 3. Your actions are going to range from either transporting goods, collecting goods, or turning goods in. Goods can be made by the farm, and depending on how many different land plots you have is how many goods you're going to get, as well as the upgraded cards you have on your field. After you've gone ahead and done all that, you're going to move on to the next phase, in which you're going to buy upgrades to getting your different, upgrading maybe your vehicles and that kind of stuff, to hopefully be able to produce more quantity of these items to sell them to other other dealers. Now you're also going to have a set of lords on the side that you can use, but you have to sell it to them for two more, which you have to pay out of your own pocket in order to get these guys to sell for you. But if you have these guys on the field already, they count towards you and they don't cost anything. After you've gone ahead and done that phase, the flip over the deck phase as well as the selling and buying phase, then you're going to let your opponent go ahead and take their turn and vice versa. There's a couple other things involving upgrades and cards, but I'll show you that down here. Well, let's go ahead and get into the setup of the game as well as a couple turns. So here we have a setup for 2 players of Narco Empire. There's obviously enough for 4 players. I'm going to have these set aside, but as you see here, the tableau. There's also the additional deck here, which will be used after this deck is completed for the final round of the game. But until then, we'll show you what's on the field. So we have all the tokens over here and all the cards over here. This deck forms everything except for the actions and one of each different type of the dealers over there. Also, you got your 1 cube representing your, you got a little plant going on. You got 1 little pound of Colombian sweet CC, and then you've got your single $1 million cube. And then same for everybody else. After that, I'm going to decide who goes first. Obviously, we'll go with the guys in front right here so you guys can see it really well. And you're going to take a card from the top of this Narco deck and flip it over. This represents an upgrade card as well as a symbol over here in the top right-hand corner, which represents that it is a gun card. That is the positive card, and you want that. The bottom left-hand side is the cost of the card, and the bottom right-hand side is going to be the transportation, how many you can transport from one location to another. When you're transporting goods, you need to transport them from, you yield them from here, go to here, then you transport them to your warehouse, and then you transport them to the different dealers. So good so far, no problems. You can keep going up to 7, right? So next one. Okay, now we got a dealer, so we're not going to have to hire one of these alternative guys. We have one of our own. That's great. So far, so good. I can keep going. Uh-oh, we ran into a police officer. This is the police officer symbol. If 2 pop up, then you have to do any of the abilities that say 2 on them. So if another guy pops up, we have to give away one of our sweet little pieces here. And if we don't have to deal with any more, it doesn't do anything. It has to be 2 or more. At 3, we stop and we don't get to do anything else. Let's go again one more time. Oh, no problem at all. There's 3 symbols, 3 gun symbols here, and yet another upgrade. This one costs 1. You can hold 6 as a storage area and a single gun. Now we have 3 guns. When you get 3 guns, you'll be able to, if you choose to stop, draw a card from the draw deck. However, if you ever get 3 cop symbols, you will not get to draw any of the gun cards. So you gotta be careful of how many you want to stop to. But we're at 4 so far. Now I could keep going. If I go for 4 guns, I'll either get to draw 2 of these guys, or I could take a hitman. So maybe I'll keep going, because I've only got 1 so far. I'm pushing my luck here. Uh-oh, I just ran into 2 cops here. So now both of them are going to make me spend 1 of each of these symbols here. So I'm going to stop now. I don't want to go to the 3rd one and lose up my chances of drawing a card. So the first thing I have to do is pay these guys out because there's 2 of them on the field and it shows that I need to pay 2. Well, I pay 1 because that's what he costs. And then if I can't pay one of these, I have to pay $1 million. So I lose both of these. So they're gone to the pool of nothingness. Next thing I can do is I'm going to be gathering actions from all of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 actions, which is really good. Now, there's nothing else to do in the phase other than just pay out everybody, and as well as drawing a single card for the one of each of my gun symbols, so I'll do that, and the actions do different things. This says mule. I get extra money on any of my sales, so I get an extra plus $2 million whenever I sell something. I can play these whenever I want. Alright, so now we're going to go into the action phase. I got 5 actions here, so I pulled 5 cards. So the first action I can do is, if you look on this card here, is I can grow things. 1 grow, which is 1 here, equals 1 of these cubes. If I had 2 of these guys on, then I could grow 2, and 3 I could grow 3 for a single action. So my first action will be to grow 1, and then I could choose another, my second action, and my third action. For my 4th action, I can only transport 3, so I will transport, there's 3. And then for my 5th action, I can transport once again to the dealer, there he is, and he is going to give me money. So I would get 3 here. Now, these are going to be discarded. And finally, I can now choose to buy upgrades. So I could buy this 1 single house upgrade, which will go from 3 over here to a 6. I could buy my transport upgrade, which would go from a 3 to a 6. Or I could spend 2 over here to increase my farming capability to 2 instead of 1, because I'll have 2 over here, so that would be 2 every single action point, which is pretty good. I think I will go with that. So I would go ahead and spend 2 of these guys here. I get another one of these. So whenever I spend an action to grow, I would be growing 2 of these guys instead of 1. I could have instead purchased this over here, and it would just go on top of it. It would take the place of this, and this would actually go into the discard pile, wherever that might be. And then that would be it. I can only buy 1 thing at a time, so I'm going to stick with just buying this one here. After that, everything gets discarded. If I did not use this guy, if this guy wasn't used or there's more than one of them, then it would stay on the field for the next person to use and count as a bonus action for him. So these would go ahead and get discarded. The next player over here would take their turn, and he would start by flipping over. Oh, he got a cop, and some of these symbols are going to say different things. So it's not a cop, but it's actually kind of like a police's investigation thing. This says +1 card, which means another card must be pulled. Oh no. Another card must be pulled. Okay, so here we go. I've got 3 actions here, 2 cops, but no problems. Nothing's happening because I haven't been busted by anybody. So I could go again if I want to, and I think I will. Just, oh no. So there's my 3. So I've got 3 now, which means that I'm not going to be able to draw from this deck over here, and I have to suffer the consequences of this card here, and I have to stop. So I'm going to spend this and give it to him, and that's all I can do with that. I will use my 4 actions once again. I will go 1 and 2, and then I'll transport to 3, and if I wanted to, I go over here for 4. Unfortunately, he costs 2 additional just to use him, so I would end up with nothing. So I think I'll just go ahead and spend another on this. And the returns would continue going that way. So you continue trying to buy things, upgrade things, and you're trying to push your luck with the cards here. After this entire deck runs out, and there are a couple different variants, these guys here let you peek at the top of the deck to see what it is. Oh, just like that, you get to peek at the top of the deck. And you can determine if you want to use that or not. If you don't want to, you can leave it up. Which in this case, if there was 2 of them there, I flipped over this one and said, oh no, I don't want to use that. I hide it. So he's like an informant in the police office. This is the +1 card guys over here, the police officers. There's also a DEA that affects you based on whether or not you have used more than 5 actions on your turn, and he goes back and forth trying to tail that person, as well as taking this deck, and once it is completely run out, you're going to take them all, and you're going to add the extra advanced stack for the second round of the game, the second portion of the game. You take this deck here, you put it in just like this, shuffle it in, and then you would keep playing 1 more round of the game. Now, as you saw, there's this DE agent over here, and he actually tracks the person with the most money. So depending on who has the most money, this guy's going to go to him. Let me show you how the DEA agents work. So first of all, if it was my turn over here, and I had the DEA agent on me because I had the most money, which I do, I have 1 million, I would start with him in play. And I'd have to flip over cards. And he would automatically count as an action, as well as a single cop piece here. So at that point, I'd peek at this one right here. Okay, I'd use that one too, and I'd probably stop, because that would mean I get to draw a card. Because he's nasty, and he's on my tail until somebody else gets more money. Once this deck runs out as well, the person with the most amount of money in the game is going to be the winner. And I'm not sure if it's necessarily included the money amounts on the bottom of the cards for when you upgrade stuff, such as this guy right here, but definitely the amount of money you have here next to your cards. Okay, so now to talk about a couple of the caveats in the game. Now, first of all, you know about 3 different gun symbols. If you get 4, though, you can choose to get 2 of these action cards, or you can get one of these guys here, which is the Hitmen. Hitmen are really good because they affect the cards sometimes, and they also affect the agents, the cops here. And if you draw one of these guys and you happen to have Hitmen, you can choose to put a Hitman on this guy, and it will remove it, and you can continue as though it never happened. So Hitmen are very, very useful. You're also going to get these action cards when, like I said, if you get 3 or 4 guns, and they do a bunch of different things, and they are used during a certain time. This one here is Assault, Police Storage Assault, which gives you 3 hitmen that you can use, so that's really good, especially on your turn. You got something you can use anytime, which is called, this is called Blow. DEA agent goes to the next player, so if you have it, you can give it to somebody else, because he is nasty. Customs, a player loses money on sales, so when he tries to sell something, you actually make him lose $3 million instantaneously. The Mule, the drug mule, is going to give you plus $2 million whenever you sell something. Stealing, you steal cargo from a lab, so if they have some money in if they have some cargo in their lab, you steal 4 of their cargo, putting it into yours. And let's see what else. One more. Customs. A player loses money on sales, so whenever he sells something, he loses money. Might have already said that. Yep, I did. But there's a couple other cards in there that do certain things that involve the game, obviously, and it's really cool the way that functions. Anyway, the last couple things you need to know is at the end of the game with the extra DEA agent added, as well as the police officers, they're like a assault team, they actually cost 2 of these little guys, little hitmen, to take care of them, as well as they have a bunch of really strong upgrades, like this helicopter where you'll be able to fly shipments out, which is going to give you 9. That's really solid compared to original 3, as well as another storage facility that is 12. That is the basic idea of the game. Try and collect as much money as you can before the deck runs out for the second time, and if you do so, you win the game. Alright, let me tell you what I think about it. So what do I think about Narcos Empire? Well, first of all, Narcos Empire is a game that I have seen a lot of, but Not at all. For instance, a lot of these games I have, like Gomorrah and Rise of Mafia and stuff like that I've reviewed in the past, very similar gangster games that have different appeal. Most of them are take-that games. This, however, is more of a tableau management push your luck, which is very, very interesting and a unique style of mechanics. The artwork in the game is fairly good. I think you'll like it. It reminds me kind of, the game, the theme and artwork work really well together, and they remind me of kind of like Breaking Bad. That's what I felt like when I was playing this game. You start from nothing, and you slowly work your way up building your empire. So I think Narco Empire is actually a fairly good title for the game. You do feel like you're progressing thoroughly through it, and it's quick enough and easy enough to grasp that you can play it more than once. I think it's best with 3 or 4 players. With 2 it was okay. It dragged a little bit at the end there, but progressed really nicely until then. This is the very end. It was just like, it almost outstayed its welcome, but it didn't. It was close though. 3 or 4 players, I think it works much, much better. The game mechanics, components, all that works really nice. I like it all. I think they should definitely include a couple more cubes for the money, especially when it comes to 3 or 4 players. And this is actually the basic game. There is an advanced game that does involve adding cities to it, in which you can have one city yours and one city somebody else's, and you can go back and forth between cities doing this kind of stuff. But I can't talk about that because I haven't played it. I can only talk about this one. And I do like the push your luck mechanic. You can go up to 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 7 cards, but you have to be careful. I've always liked push your luck systems, and this one works really well. I also like how the push your luck system pushes into an action-based system, which is really unique and really nice. Definitely one of my favorite Mafia-style games or like Drug Lord-style games that I've reviewed recently. I really, really like it. I definitely think if you like the theme and you like the style of the mechanics of this kind of a game, I think you'll like it too. Alright guys, thanks for watching another Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter card game review. If you like this video, like to see more, go check out our other videos here on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and comment. It all does help. Also, go ahead and check out Narco Empire down here in the description below. It's on Kickstarter currently. Also, don't forget to check out our website, unfilteredgamer.com. We got tons of blog posts, Kickstarter giveaways, lists, all that good stuff, as well as checking out our affiliate sites, everythingboardgames.com, The Giveaway Geek, and Devatos Gaming. They got great stuff as well, especially giveaways. Alright guys, that's all I got for this one. I'll see ya next time.